time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. I'm not ready.
Impressive.
time to recharge. I'm not ready. It needs time to recharge. Time to recharge. Time to recharge. Time to recharge.
Survive Skosglen. And you?
I'm not ready yet. It needs time to recharge. Need more time. time to recharge. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. It needs time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. I need more time.
Better than starting from nothing. The hammer sings on your return.
Need more time. It needs time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. to recharge. It needs time to recharge. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. It needs time to restart. It needs time to recharge. time to recharge. I need more time.
The forge is ready for whatever you need.
Greetings. time. Needs time to recharge. I need more time. I need more time. It needs time to recharge. I'm not ready. I need more time. It is done. I'm not ready.
Let me pause here for a second. I want to get some context on one thing. Blizzard said in a campfire chat that they're going to involve content creators with like the big itemization revamp in season 4. When Woody says, I think these things are coming, but I'm not sure, some people might think, oh, well, Woody actually knows, da-da-da-da-da. Of course, he's like pretending to not know. No, actually, well, unless Woody knows more than me, which I guess is possible, but we haven't really talked to Blizzard about exactly what's coming. Like, we don't know. So it's when Woody says that he's not sure, I believe him because I don't know. So he's speculating here. And people think that we know. Well, as of February 10th, I don't know jack shit. So
I'm not itemized anymore. They're only in the codex. And this means you can always imprint whatever you want. And you don't have to deal with like so much stats issues. So this is really cool. The itemization reworks are going to be massive, so I'm really looking forward to those. I have seen a very early preview, and a lot of other content creators have seen it already, and like some time ago.
That's what we saw.
It did look really cool. It did sound pretty cool.
We saw an early preview.
For that, but I have no idea of the status of this right now. And then, of course, you're gonna get items, theme, etc. But honestly, I really don't care too much about this part here in particular, with how big the changes are going to be in season 4 anyway.
He doesn't
I
care.
think the theme could actually be a somewhat of a, you know, afterthought in my book. But I guess you're gonna see something cool there again. Now let's talk about the stuff I actually want. So one thing that has definitely shown to be a problem is the Uber grind. So you have to farm Duriel like hundreds, even thousands of times when people do that. At least with dupe nuts, that is somewhat realistic. Now, well, dupes are gone, and in general, the Uber grind is just boring at some point. So it's fine to do the Duriel grind, you know, every so often for a little bit. But personally, I found like around 400 or so Duriels last season, and that was in a rotation, of course. So, you know, I found up like around 100 Duriels myself, and then multiplied them times 4 in a party, and that is quite a grind. And now in season 3, we also have the same Uber grind yet again. Now there are some improvements coming to that very soon, I guess. Blizzard has already teased that, but we're gonna see, like, you know, we're gonna get something for Uber Unix. But in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's still gonna be the same old Duriel grind unless something major changes here. And
okay, so Woody's making like 2 critical points here, which I think are like literally everything. So the first part is he says that the Uber grind is not fun. So when I compare farming mats to fight Uber Duriel to running mats in PoE to doing Mephisto runs or Pindleskin runs in Diablo 2 to even running monoliths in Last Epoch, the one that is the least fun for me and feels much more just like a chore and just going through the motions is the Diablo 4 thing. So I think that's probably the first point he made is the most important point. You could get everything wrong about farming Ubers. You get everything wrong about it. But if it was fun to do, fine. Then you would still probably in some ways have a win. But I think that that's the most important point that he made. Another thing that I've heard a million times from the community, this is much more from the community than me, because I'm a DJ and I can just sit here and stream and blast, and I can kill as many Duriels as I want, whenever I want. people, when they logged into Season 3, they said, wait a minute, I did the massive Dario grind last season. I just realized something. Once I hit level 100, I'm just doing it again to get the same things that I already got, right? And in some ways, that's just how a season works. But again, it's a different feeling for, going through Mephisto runs to find a Shaco or an Aki or a Viper Magi versus do Helltide, then do this, then do that to get this thing, to look for a group to do that. Another problem, by the way, I don't know if Woody's going to talk about it, is the fact that it requires you to farm in a group. If you play solo, you lose like 4x the mats, and that's essentially forcing group play for the best items in the game, and that is a super major problem. So I think one of the most important things that they have to change is the way that you acquire the Uber Uniques. Killing Duriel all the time is not fun. A realistic but small chance to catch it in other fun endgame content would be a million times better. And as Woody said, they teased that they're going to change the Uber Uniques, so we can only hope to God that that's what they're going to do. And honestly, that's what I'm expecting from them.
I think we need something better. First of all, this needs to be more solo player friendly. Like, we need a way
he says it right there.
to, at least at a somewhat acceptable efficiency, farm up those Uber Uniques and not be forced to go 4-man Uber grind. So that is the main point here. And also the second point is, you only have this one source of Ubers, really. We have no other bosses. Like, why don't they just make like some actual hard mode bosses of all of the bosses that we have? Like, we have Lashang, we have Grigar, etc.
And give us a chance to get it in the regular game, too.
One or two of those.
Not one in a trillion chance.
Target one of them and actually grind exactly the Uber that you want for your build, and not have everything on one boss where it's like full
what he's
RNG
describing is monolith target farming in Last Epoch.
I think that could definitely change very easily, actually.
That's in this game right here.
Mode of all of those bosses, like a level 100 version, or even like higher than that, like 125 version or so, something that has like 20 times the HP, 10 times the damage, and it's actually a bit of an encounter instead of you just walking in and one-shotting them. So there could be relatively easy solutions, I think, to this, and I think it's just the easiest we're going to do here. Also, similar, the T100 dungeons in the game right now are completely irrelevant with the changes in Season 3. So right now we get higher level loot in higher level Nightmare dungeons up until around level 90. In fact, even a bit before that, like even if you farm 85, for example, you basically guaranteed 925 loot every single item, and there's not really a change in the loot anymore. So the last like 15, even up to 20 levels of difficulty are completely irrelevant right now. And I think that T100 should be a nice goal to have, a nice, like try to make your character strong enough to farm those kind of scenario. So I would really like to see something like an Uber drop chance for T100 Nightmare dungeons. This would be solo player friendly, as I had just described, but also it would actually give some relevance to gearing up your character strong enough, making a build powerful enough so it can blast through those T100s.
So I agree with what Woody is saying here. In my priority list, this would not be at the top of my list. Again, so what Woody is saying is absolutely true. He says, okay, Nightmare Dungeon 85 is good enough, and I think that the changes that they made in this season did make it better. I definitely think it's an improvement, because the only way you were getting 925 gear before is killing the world boss or doing Duriel. Once again, you're forcing me to do Duriel all day long. I can't even play your game. Now that the higher Nightmare Dungeons and the high vaults actually give you good gear, now it's a little bit more of a reason to play it. And what Woody is saying here is the last 15 tiers are not aspirational content. You don't need to do them. You don't get any rewards for it. I agree that he's right, but that is absolutely not my priority. I don't need Blizzard to make the rewards better at the end of Nightmare Dungeons. I need you to make an endgame system that's fun. If you make Diablo IV fun for me to log in and play, then I will play. And giving me better rewards at Nightmare Dungeon 100, that is not enough fun for me and a lot of people to come back. So this is definitely like a cherry on top, a nice thing for them to consider in conjunction with other things. But this would be probably lower on my priority list.
Oh,
And if it's like, you know, only on T100, there's like this, you know, this guaranteed, like, you know, you get guaranteed sigils of T100 every time you complete one, for example. And you can kind of like, you know, perpetuate the grind like this and keep blasting until you get something. So I think this would be a relatively easy solution, just put like Ubers in Nightmare Dungeons. Now, there's another big topic here, and that is old seasonal content. So I think it's a kind of big waste that we don't really have any leftovers of the previous season themes in the game. Okay, we have Varshan, there's like a one boss fight, and he's kind of irrelevant. And all the other stuff is kind of just gone. The Bloodseekers are gone, the Blood Tide is gone, the Million Tunnels are gone, and I expect the Vaults will be gone. So I just put this on the list here as well. And I think that is not how it works. So in my book, I think we should get back all of the stuff in Season 4. For example, Bloodseekers. I think Bloodseekers were amazing in Season 2. Like when they popped up in a dungeon and they were hunting you down, and they were actually dangerous events. They were like, you know, these super powerful elites. It was kind of cool, and especially because they scaled with the difficulty of the dungeon, they were actually like an interesting encounter, which is something that is really lacking in Diablo 4 right now. Like, okay, there's the Butcher, and then there's the Son of Malphas, and outside of that, there's no real like randomness, something like, you know, crazy happening, something like in a oh shit moment, basically. And Bloodseekers were exactly that, and they were excellent at this. And we do have Lord Zir as a boss in the game, and there is basically a reward that you can attach to those Bloodseekers, which is Lord Zir summoning materials, for example. So there could be a specific purpose to trying to actually defeat those Bloodseekers instead of just running away from them, for example.
Okay, so I will agree with Woody here, but I'm going to agree for kind of a different reason. So Woody's saying the team is not bringing back the seasonal content, and that's making Diablo 4 dull. One thing that they did bring back, by the way, were the rings. They did bring back the Malignant rings, which were significant. Those rings are very good for many builds on Varshan. So that was kind of a way that they brought back Malignant Hearts, and we have nothing from vampires yet or whatever. I actually want them to bring back the content, but I want them... The thing that I care way more about than the content, than the Bloodseekers appearing, or necessarily the Blood Helltide, which is not really a super endgame thing, although they could make it an endgame thing, is the progression systems. Give me something to work on my character. Give me something to do. The fact that I had to... It felt right in Season 2. They got it exactly right, where Season 3 got it horrifically wrong. Leveling up my vampire powers, right away when I unlock the power at level 1, it's very strong. It's helping me right now, and I'm feeling good about it. It makes me feel good to farm it to level 2, because it wasn't... It was just right. It's not like the Three Little Bears, too cold or too hot. It was just right. The amount of time that I had to spend to get it to level 2. And then it felt better. It was noticeable. And it made me excited to get it to level 3. The UI that they had for upgrading it was terrible. But the tuning of it was fun. You can bring back some of the progression systems. PoE has this. Just when you think you've got your character built, no, Rax. You don't have your charms done. You don't have your jewels done. You don't have your... Now you have your cluster jewels. No. You got to automate your flask. You got to do this. There's so many things to do in the game. How could you ever be done? In some ways, it can be overwhelming. A new player comes into PoE 10 years later. There's so many systems to upgrade. It actually gets in its own way eventually. There's too many things. Why can't I go in here? Wham, I'm crying. Okay, now it's letting me in. It can get it in its own way, and it can become too crazy at some point. But what I'm missing is... Someone left a comment on one of my videos, and they said, you want to know why I stopped playing Diablo 4? It's because every new season that comes out, I feel like I'm doing exactly the same thing that I already did. I level to 100, I do the seasonal quest line, it gives me 2 or 3 powers, and then I farm Duriel 1,000 times. It's the same thing over and over and over. If you actually implemented different ways, different things to work on your character, then, well, over time... Starting a season in Diablo 4 10 seasons from now would feel very different from starting a season right now. Because you have to think about, all right, the most important thing for me to do right now is unlock my critical vampire powers, because that helps me in the early game. I could ignore the pet for now because the pet doesn't help me early game. But at the end, I need to work on my vaults, because eventually when I can start spamming the high level vaults and I can open all 4 chests at the same time, then my pet can help me a lot, because they made him stay with me. They make the attack faster. There's different pets that I can pick because they improve the mechanic over time, And the actual game would feel different. Yes, the events are cool or whatever that Woody is talking about, and we definitely need more things to do in the game, but the Bloodseekers are just a red Helltide. There's green Helltide, blue Helltide, Sherbert Helltide is probably next. I'm more worried about adding depth to the game via actually building my character than just running around and doing, Maple Helltide.
I think this is something that should be in the game, at least bring back the Bloodseekers. Bloodseeker is still there, so you could tie it in lore-wise if you really want or something. And I think this would be an excellent solution, give people actually like a chance to target farm some of those Lord Seer mods at the same time, because right now Lord Seer is definitely a problem for people that want an item from that boss. And we just get something other, like some new cool stuff to do sometimes in those Nightmare Dungeons. In general, I think Nightmare Dungeons definitely need a lot more of the seasonal content in them, including the old seasonal content, because ultimately Nightmare Dungeons with the scaling difficulty are the only real content that we have right now, after you have decked out your character, after you are level 100 and you have everything. The outdoor content is just, irrelevant, like not in the sense that it's not useful to farm it because, Helltide exists and stuff like that, but in terms of difficulty. And the only real challenge you can have is in Nightmare Dungeons. So I think this stuff needs to go into the dungeons, and Bloodseekers are a perfect example here. And similar, we can have these old like Blood Seeker or these Blood Harvest events, for example, in dungeons. We had some back in Season 2. There were these vampire events that popped up here and there, and similar to the Bloodseekers, for example, they could drop those rare summoning materials. And when you're walking through a room and there's this event, then you can decide, okay, do I actually want to do this event, or just want to skip it, go to the end, get my global clear, and you actually have a bit of a choice to target on a certain thing. Because right now, all these like dungeon events, yeah, they have been buffed and they're kind of nice for XP, but XP doesn't really matter anymore at some point, and then they don't give you anything. And I think we need more of this kind of like, choice in the dungeons. Okay, I see this event, am I going to do it or not? I see these Bloodseekers, you try to fight them or away from them, and they can actually give you a specific, tangible and especially important reward. And well, the same with like the other seasonal themes here. So Marine Tunnels, for example.
So Woody is right again. Like, it's not just part of it is the rewards, but you need to make the Nightmare Dungeons much more interesting to run, much more fun to run. But my thought on it, I might be wrong on this. I'm not like 100% convinced, but I don't think Nightmare Dungeons, no matter how fun you made them, could be the only end game activity for how they've already started. Like, it started on such a bad foot where you actually couldn't even port into the Nightmare Dungeon in the beginning, that I think even if you made it a lot more fun, we brought back all the events in Nightmare Dungeons, the rewards are better, or this or that, or this or that, even if they removed all the doors and they took out all the stupid 30-second events in the middle of it and the freeing the 7 prisoners, that would certainly be a great start. But I'm not of the opinion this far into Diablo 4's lifespan that would be enough. I think we need multiple real end game activities that are fun. So yeah, like the point that he's making here, Nightmare Dungeons are probably going to be a staple forever, and they need to improve dramatically for all those different ways. But I also think people are just hungry for something else that isn't a Helltide and isn't Nightmare Dungeons. I think it's got to be more than just the fixes here.
I think it would be amazing if you walk into a Nightmare Dungeon and sometimes it's just like a Millennium Dungeon or something. You could literally with some ethics on the sigil as well. It could literally just say like the extra shrines, you know, this is infested with Malinian Thoros or whatever, and similar with the Bloodseekers, you know, infested with vampires. And this could be, you know, even target combo in that
What he's
sense.
describing
And
is
you walk
PoE,
into
by the way. This is what PoE
And then
is.
you have, you know, maybe
This
somewhere
map has breach. This
where
map
there's
has
usually, like, an event room,
expedition.
it just
It's
leads to a
PoE. This is
tunnel.
PoE.
It's like a little like side area that you go into, and there's, you know, like 10 of those Malinian elites, and every time you defeat one of them, there's like a 25% chance to get one of the Darshan organs that you can use to summon the boss, for example. So again, similar to the Bloodseekers, I would like to actually have a reason to go and do those side events and, you know, find something interesting in those dungeons that is outside of just like Bloodseekers, the boss and that's it. And I think this is extremely low-hanging fruit here that we should get in the game. And likewise with the vaults.
One point here, real quick. Extremely low-hanging fruit. This is key. Like, Woody and I both have talked to Blizzard many times over the years, and you know, some other gaming companies about updating their game. And the developers and gaming companies, this is very logical. This is exactly how the world works. If they can do it with very little manpower, very little resources, and it would make an impact, they're much more likely to do so. So if I go up to Blizzard and I say, hey Blizzard, I need you to make me a totally new endgame that's fun, because I'm bored in Diablo 4. That ask is much more tremendous than, hey, you already made this endgame system, it's called Nightmare Dungeons, and I'm not having fun with it. But you made all this other content that's really fun that I like that you could put in Nightmare Dungeons, and it would make it a lot better. How about that? So I think it's important to call out that Woody's suggestions are probably wouldn't take too much time to implement, which is one of the reasons why they're very strong.
I don't know exactly what they could do, but I think it would be a waste to just throw them away. I think the Malphas fight is kind of interesting, and we should definitely keep Malphas in the game. And for that reason, I would also like to see the vaults. So, for example, maybe next season when you no longer have versus a season team, maybe just like 1 in 20 Nightmare Dungeon sigils you find is randomly a vault sigil. And it's going to be at the same tier of, you know, the Nightmare Dungeon that you're running, for example. And then you can open this up and you can get Malphas mats and to summon Malphas in those vaults. So let's say you start the run and you get a bunch of these certain vault stacks, just like now. And let's say, okay, there's 15 stacks you need to have at the end of the run. Maybe you get 30 at the start, so you have to try to avoid the trap a little bit, but it's not like super try hard. And then you go and get a few of those vaults at the end, depending on how many stacks you can. I think this would also be extremely easy to keep around. And we have Malphas as an extra endgame boss that is like similar level as like Burial, for example, in terms of difficulty. And I really like the Malphas fight. So you just put a bunch of new uniques on Malphas, you have these vaults, and there you go. I think that would be cool. So I think there's really no reason to kind of like throw away all of the old season themes. I think they should really come back, and especially a lot of the stuff needs to go in higher dungeons just to beef up that content and make it much more interesting. So there's definitely like more things you could do.
Malphas
but
is alright.
Obviously, we don't want to have
Not-
like, you know, a
it's
full
okay.
rainbow
It's like another butcher.
you know, Blood Tide, Hell Tide, whatever. On
Better
the
than
map
nothing, I
active at
guess.
all times,
It's
with
very,
arcane tremors
has a
and all that
shitload of
stuff.
HP.
That is a bit too much, so there should definitely be
Maybe
like,
a bit
you know,
overtuned.
a bigger focus on the actual season itself. But some of this old stuff can come back, and quite easily so. So this is kind of what I wanted to explain here with some ideas I had. Then we have the next point here, Hell Tide Brush Up. I was actually expecting this to happen in Season 3 already. After the massive success of the Blood Harvest in Season 2, I expected the dev team to just like sit down and just like do something with Helltide. Because it turns out, yeah, Helltide is more rewarding, you get Forgotten Souls now, and you know, the chest is easier to get, and you see them on the map, and you can farm it all the time. That's kind of nice, but ultimately I think Helltide needs a bit of a revamp. So it just needs more exciting stuff, basically. Like Blood Harvest was fun because there were those siphons, there were those Bloodseekers you could summon, there was always something going on, there were whispers. It was just nice, you know, it was kind of complete. And Helltide is, you know, it doesn't feel very hellish most of the time. Okay, you have like the fire raining down, and there's a bunch more extra demons and stuff. But ultimately, the build quality is very low, there's nothing going on. Kickstart is a joke, it's just a punching bag that is annoying and nothing else.
So, I mean, I agree with Woody, but again, I'll make like a side comment here. Like, Helltide could definitely be more interesting. I think the way that they made the Vampire Helltide was more interesting than regular Helltide. But I'm going to go back to what I said in my early launch video, even though they've made a bunch of improvements to Helltide since then. In my opinion, when Diablo IV released, there were two things that worked pretty well in the game. The first was the campaign. That's one of the main redeeming qualities about the game. Casuals and even veteran players really enjoyed the campaign, and some casual players aren't even through the campaign, so they're still loving Diablo IV, and they are either oblivious to the feedback that people don't like the endgame, or they listen to it and they just don't care. That's fine. But out of everything that they had, the nightmare dungeons, the uber bosses weren't there, the different ways to level up, the strongholds, the renown grind. I think one of the only things that pretty much worked from the beginning was Helltide. People don't like the end game, or it was a pretty dense zone of monsters that you just slaughter mercilessly with some events. Out of everything that they had, the nightmare dungeons, items, the uber bosses what you need to open up and open the different ways to level up, the strongholds, the renown grind. I think one of the only things that pretty much worked from the beginning was Helltide. People don't like the end game, or it was a pretty dense zone of monsters that you just slaughter mercilessly with some events. Out of everything that they had, the nightmare dungeon. One of the only things that pretty much worked from the beginning was Helltide. People don't like the end game, or it was a pretty dense zone of monsters that you just slaughter.
Not in town. It needs time to recharge. time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. Need more time. It's locked. Happens rarely. I'll meet my allies. Signs of a bloody struggle. What happened here? I need more time. Time to recharge. I need more time. It needs time to recharge. It needs time to recharge. Yes. I need more time. Wilds cannot be tamed. You're all fools to try. Your evil is done. It needs time to recharge. recharge. I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I'm not ready yet. Time to recharge.
Thanks.
I need more time. I need more time. It needs time to recharge. I need more time. Memory.
Our walls are breached! Oh, this is madness! We will not survive! We'll sacrifice ourselves before our home!
There are so many ways I could kill you. There are so many ways I could kill you. Unfortunately, I need my allies. more time. It needs time to recharge. I need more time. Something rots this place. I need more time. Must be here for a reason. I should see if there are more like it. It needs time to recharge. I need more time. It needs time to recharge. I need more time. my allies.